conversation, and welcome to the warm-up session. Just for the guitarists, I have invited other instruments to this, and we've got a number of sax players and so on, and a violinist I can see, a ukulele player, and of course the bass players as well, and a singer, or at least one singer, possibly two. Okay, so the exercise is going to be exactly the same as before. We're going to run through a number of exercises in a particular key. The key is F this time, and I'm not going to explain this again, but just for the sax players, you know that you're not in F, you're going to be either in G or D, and you can work out which one it's going to be, but you should have the exercise sheet for your own instrument. Right, so we're going to be in F, and I'm now going to get the worksheet on the screen. Hello, Barry, welcome. And the worksheet on the screen, it will be the concert worksheet, so it will be applying to guitars, pianos and violins and singers, and the other instruments, saxes and so on, will have their own sheet in their own key. Now, if you're guitarists will be plucking down, up, or down, down, down if it shows a crotchet, and bass players will use fingers if you can, alternating fingers. Everybody else use the technique that you would use with your instrument to get the desired sound. And here we go. We're going to start with just the first bar. That's crotchet. So we're just going to really play something simple. I'm going to put the metronome on, and we're just going to go F, 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 F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and easy to start with, just to get everything moving. Just keep going on that. I'm just going to move the picture on the right because I can't see everything. That's better. Good. Okay, well, they're crotchets, nice and easy. We'll move on to quavers now. So these are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And same note, we're sticking to F for a little while. 1, 2, 3, second bar. Three, 4, and stop. Good. Right, now let's alternate those two bars. We're going to do 1 bar of crotchet, 1 bar of quavers, 1 bar of crotchets, 1 bar of quavers. So it's the first 2 bars basically looped. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now quavers and crotchets. Just keep alternating those 2 bars. One more. Let's do one more pair. Crotchets and now quavers. Good. If it suits your instrument, you can do long notes, you can do other rhythms as well. And of course, should have said it at the beginning, just in case. I think most people know this now, but you can't be heard by anyone else during this part of the practice, so you can do absolutely what you like on your instrument. Okay, moving on to the third bar now. We're going to do triplets. So for each beat, we play 3 notes. And for guitarists, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Just keep alternating picking, and you'll find you're sometimes on a down strum on the beat and sometimes on an up, up, up. But, so that's going to sound like this, and join in when you're ready. Just have a listen first if you're not sure what triplet sounds like. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And last one. Good. Well, they're triplets. You end up doing 12 plucks per bar there, 12 notes per bar. So they're actually triplet quavers, if you want the full name of that particular division of note. Okay, good. So they're triplets. Now we're going to move on to the fourth bar, semiquavers, where you play 16 notes in a bar, 1E and 2E and 3E, and so it's 4 notes per beat. Just out of interest, if you do want to try this at home, I've got this metronome on 80 beats a minute, so it's a nice steady tempo to get practicing. Obviously, if you wanted to improve your ability to play triplets and so on, you just gradually speed that up, making sure that you're accurate all the time, not going too fast. Okay, on to semiquavers. So again, have a listen if you're not sure how that's going to sound before you dive in. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, and stop. Good. I should have said, wind players, trumpet players, and so on, do take a breath at some point. I don't want to see a pile of bodies on the floor at the end of this session when I put the video back on, your pictures back on. I know guitarists can just go on forever playing that, but wind players, yes, please take a breath every now and again. I'll leave that to you to decide when. Right. We're going to just pair up those two now, triplets and semiquavers, bars 3 and 4. So we're going to switch from one to the other. So a bar of triplets, a bar of semiquavers, and alternating. Just bars 3 and 4. So starting with the triplets, then the semiquavers. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Okay, yeah, that's probably the trickiest bit. Okay, now we're going to just finish off this top section of the sheet by doing all 4 bars as a row, in a row, and then just repeat those 4 bars. If for practicality reasons, or you can't get your notes coming out fast enough, by all means, put in quavers or crotchets in place of things like the semiquavers, if that's just a little bit too fast for your instrument. So here we go. What we're going to do then is just go crotchets, quavers, triplets, semiquavers, crotchets, quavers, triplets, semiquavers, 1 bar of each. Here we go. After 4, 1. Oops, no. 1, 2, D, crotchets, and quavers, triplets, semiquavers, and repeat. one more time through. And finish. Oh, right, well, I'm warm. I don't know about you guys, but that's a nice little warm up there. So, righty-ho, we're moving on to the next part of the sheet. So we're going to go down to the next line, and we're going to look at the chromatic scale. And as you know, the chromatic scale is every note, every semitone, starting on, in our case, F, all the way up to the next F. So there are 12 semitones, so that will be 12 notes. I've put the tab on there for the guitarists, and the other instruments you can work out what notes you're going to play, I'm sure. And so for guitarists, first of all, get your first finger on the 8th fret of the A string, that F there, and stretch your fingers out so they're hovering over the remaining 3 frets. So your little finger will be over the 11th fret. To get ready to play the first 4 notes. The next 4 notes are on the next string, but you need to go back down to the 7th fret in order to maintain the sequence of the chromatic scale. And then likewise on the G string, you move back to the 6th fret and play the next 4 notes, but then slide up the little finger on the last note to just reach the final F. Then you've done your complete chromatic scale. Ascending. We're going to keep it at that speed for now. We might speed this one up a little bit in a minute, but okay, going up the chromatic scale. Great thing for guitarists is you just have to move your fingers. Everyone else has to think about what note they're going to play. So good luck to you guys. Here we go. After 4 with the chromatic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finish on the F. Good, that's so we've reached the octave there. Let's go back to the first note and repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope the singers are doing this as well. See what the semitones are like. 1, 2, same again. If you're not playing a blowing instrument, have a go at singing as you're playing. So sing the notes as you're going up the scale and listen to yourself. And here we go. So this time playing same notes, same scale, but singing at the same time. You might hear me singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 3, 4. Good. That's going ascending. I'm not going to say you all sound wonderful because you know I can't hear you. So, but I'm sure you're your own best judge of that. We'll do the descending scale now, coming down from the top F. So for most instruments, that's just repeat in the reverse order. For guitarists, put your little finger on that 10th fret, and you're going to do that little pattern there, coming down 4 frets, then move up to the 11th fret on the D string, and then carry on coming down 4. You can see the tab on the screen, and so on, back down to the original 1st fret, the 8th fret, 1st F. So starting on the higher F, descending chromatic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string. And again, here we go. And again, and. more time. And good-o. Right. Now that you've gone up and down, why don't we go up and down? So we're going to go up the ascending scale. Well, you can't go down an ascending one, can you? We're going to go up the chromatic scale, and we're going to come down the chromatic scale. But when we get to the top, you're not going to repeat that F. Just play the F once, the high F, and descend immediately. So it's like going up a mountain and coming straight down the other side. But come down at the same speed you went up. Don't come running down. So up and down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. And we're back to base camp. Let's do that again. 1, 2, you know what to do. Down. Lovely. And just in case you're getting this 80 beats a minute is sending it asleep, let's just knock it up to 100 and just do that a couple of times at 100. This time we're going to go all the way up, all the way down, and straight up again and straight down again. So one little slightly extra challenging one to finish off our chromatic scale exercise. So up, and down without stopping. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down. Up. Down. Good. Okay, well that's concluded the chromatic scale part of this morning. And now we're going to move on now to the good old major scale. Yes, and we're in the key of F, or the scale of F, same thing really. And so we're looking at the major scale, and for guitarists it's the same shape that we've been playing up on previous weeks. Other instruments, you'll have your own way of playing the major scale. It's F, everything is in F today. So now, this might be a scale that some of you have played a lot before, so if you want to make it trickier for yourself or more interesting or something new, try it in a different position on your instrument if you're a guitarist, for example, or a different way of playing it if you're a different instrument, or a different octave, or use a different note rather than, I've written it as semiquavers, we're actually playing it as crotchets, but I've written it as quavers. But anyway, you can always challenge yourself by just playing it slightly differently. Or play a harmony, start a third up and carry on, and you'll be in harmony with me then. Yes, one good one for guitarists to try, because we often ignore the bottom open strings. So if you start on the lowest F on your instrument, you'll involve some of the open strings, and that can throw you a little bit when you haven't got a pattern that's quite so like the others. Okay, but we're going to start on the 8th fret again of the A string, and the pattern's on the screen, so I think you've all seen this before. So as I say, if you're a music reader, I've written it as quavers, but we're playing it as crotchets. It's just a sequence of notes. Here we go. 1, 2, oops, sorry, I'm still on 100 beats a minute. Let's go back to 80. I'm sure you could have managed that, but we're back to 80. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just one octave. And let's do that again. So just one octave of F major. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And one more octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to come down. So we're going to start from the high note and come down to the low note. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, coming down. Not that note. I just hit my first bum note of the morning. There we go. It's descending. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And just like the the chromatic scale, we're now going to go up and down. So without repeating the top note. So starting at the low note, 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. And if you want to make it more challenging for yourself, call out the note that you're playing at the same time if you haven't got an instrument in your mouth. So we're going to start with F, F, G, A, and all the way up and down again, calling out the name of the note. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, G, A, B flat, C, E, E, F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, F. Yeah, and sing that note as well. So, so singers, if you want to sing the notes as you're going up and down, go one more time up and down. Let's do a little bit faster. Let's go up to 90. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, F. And now a quick one all the way up and down at 100. And oh, let's move it up a bit. 110. We're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down twice. We've got 2 hills to climb and come down. And calling out the notes and singing it at the same time. Whilst tapping your foot. How about that? If you want to do that. Tap your foot on beats 2 and 4. Can't think of anything else you can do. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, B flat, and finish. Good. Up and down the major scale. Right, well, I'm sure you all knew your major scale, but that's just a nice one to practice. Just for those who've joined for the first time today, next week we haven't finished yet, but next week we'll do another key as yet to be disclosed. Actually, it's going to be B flat, and because I do a different key each time, so as well as a warm up, it's also you get a chance to play some keys that you might not have played before. Right, time is moving on, and I don't always do the entire exercise on the sheet because sometimes it's we've got other things we want to do. We're going to play some chords, which will include the singers and the single note instruments, the monophonic ones. We're just going to move on to the last exercise this time. We've done the previous one quite often. So we're going to move on to this one where you can play the major scale ascending in thirds. So when you normally play a major scale, you're going up in what are called seconds. You're just basically going up in the interval, to the next note of the scale, and that's in a way going up in seconds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Up you go. If you go up in thirds, that means you start on the same first note. You don't go to the second note. You go to the third note. So you go from the F to the A. You get that interval of a third. But then the next note you play will be the second note of the scale. So you are creeping up the scale. So that would be the G, but you'll go up to the third of G, which is B flat. You'll go F, A, G, B flat, A, C, and so on. And it's a good way to practice a scale. It breaks out of that sort of da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da business. But also, your ear is hearing lots of thirds, major and minor thirds, which are very melodic, and also the basic unit of structure in a chord. So it's an excellent way to musically to practice scales, and they do appear a lot in melodies as well, intervals of thirds. So it's all good towards ultimately playing something musical. So I've put a tab on the screen there at the bottom. It's the bottom two bars, which is the major scale, F major scale in thirds ascending. We won't do descending. That's for you to do in your own private time. And so we're just going to look at the rising, ascending major thirds, just to finish off this part of the exercise. We'll go back to 80. Make it too fast. I appreciate some people have got another Zoom session at 10 o'clock, so we've just got a couple more things to do, and we'll finish well before then. Here we go. So major F major ascending in thirds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finish on the F. There we go. I'm going to just do it a little bit slower because obviously it's trickier than just going up and down the old major scale. So I'm going to go down to 70. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do it one more time before we get into some strumming, and this time have a go at doing all those other things, calling out the name of the note, singing it. If you can sing that as well, that'd be great. All helps. You're playing, connecting the note to your note in your head, the note in your instrument. So we're going to sing and call out the notes. Bit of a challenge, but we'll give it a go. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, A, G, B flat, A, C, B flat, D, C, E. Oh, got lost there, and F. Yeah, okay. Need to practice that myself. One more time, then we'll move on. 1, 2, you know what to do. F, A. Wonderful. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the part of the session now where the guitarists are all going to strum some chords, and the rest of you can stick around, and what I'd like you to do is actually play. You can either play the arpeggios of the chords, or you can play chord tones, or you could improvise a solo if you wanted to. You can make something up. So that's entirely up to you what the monophonic instruments are do, but us polyphonic guys, we're going to be playing the chords. So we're in a key of F major, and as always, there are 6 main chords, 3 major and 3 minor, in a key, ignoring the diminished chord. And we're going to start off with F. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. And then we're just going to strum G minor, A minor, and D minor. I did forget to put this in the email actually, but so we'll try and remember to do that next time so you can work out the chords in case you haven't played them before. Oh, wait, where are we? Oh, got rid of A minor. Come back. That's it. Yeah, so we're just going to strum those chords. Yeah, it's literally going to be 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just one bar of each, gently strummed. If jazz guitarists amongst you, stick a 7 on the end of each of those. F major 7 and the others minor 7s, just to give it a bit more of a jazz tinge for your own style of music. So we're going to go straight in. One bar of each chord, and everybody else join in with your own instrument. 1, 2, 3, 4. G minor, now A minor. D minor, and again, just keep going around that. and finish on F. I should have added bass players make up a bass line, and right, let me just put the other chords on in this key, if the cursor will let me do that. Oops. Give me something else here. Go away. Ah, there we go. So we need some more chords for the rest of the key, and we're going to start with C. Now, just because it's in the key of F doesn't mean it has to start on F. So this little sequence is going to be C, B flat major. So that's a bar chord on the first fret, and then F, and then finish on C7. So that we're going to do the same thing, just strum these 4 chords. Everyone else is going to play root notes or chord tones. So starting with C this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. B flat, F, C7, C, B flat, F. One more time, C. C7, and finish on F, because we are in the key of F after all. Right, final thing today then, and we're just going to strum through all of those chords as an 8-chord, 8-bar sequence. So both those lines combined. So we'll just loop the 8 bars all the way. So here we go, all the way through. 1, 2, you know what to do. Back to the top, F, G minor, A minor, D minor, down to C, B flat, and again. C. Last time. Finish on the F. Make as much noise as possible on the F. And like a rock star, jump up and down, land on your feet, spread your legs, crash on the floor, and bow. Right, well done everybody, and just get that screen off. And oh, hello everyone. God, there's loads of you. And right, so we will obviously carry on next week and continue with another key. I did say the key of B flat, didn't I? Yeah, so we're going to do the key of B flat. I was trying to remember to send out what the chords are in the key of B flat next time, and then that should be good. Oh, don't forget, any of you into playing jazz music, we've got the Jazz Jam week on Sunday, that's 3rd of May at 4 p.m, same place. And you'll be, if you haven't heard about that, then let me know and I'll send you a link. I think the rest of you probably know a bit. Right, I'm just going to unmute you all so you can all say goodbye and disappear for the rest of the day. Right, you are unmuted. Hi everybody. Nice to see you. Sorry I didn't say hello to everybody.
Well done, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. Right.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Well done. Thank you.
Right, thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, there's John there. Stan. Okay. A few more faces I didn't notice the first time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Dave.
Cheers, Dave.
Bye, bye, Dave.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye.
See you all in about. See some of you in a few minutes' time as
That's
well.
right.
Yeah, I'll change over. Yeah, get into the next one.
Cheers,
Thanks.
Dave.
Yeah, hello Barry. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Good way to start the day.
Good way to start the day. I'm not going to do it every day though.
I've got to go off into work mode now.
I got to go. You're not working, are you?
Yeah, I decided a few months ago actually. So.
Oh, you've gone back to. Right.
Mad fool.
Mad fool. Oh well. Righty ho. I'm going to end the meeting now. Final goodbye. Cheers.
Are you going to put your stuff up on the on our little Dropbox this afternoon, or?
Yes, I've got to do that. Yeah, the actual.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. See you then.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, Chris. And.